Mobile phone footage has just emerged, which appears to have been filmed by the immigration agent who shot a mother of three in Minneapolis on Wednesday. The video was released by Alpha News, a right-wing Minnesota news outlet. In it, Renee Good can be seen sitting in her car, blocking the road and smiling at the officer approaching her. Let's listen to what happened next.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you.
That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the
All right,
car.
take it back.
State officials in Minnesota are deeply unhappy that the FBI has taken over the investigation into the killing, shutting them out. Our US editor, Anushka Astana, is at the scene of the shooting in Minneapolis. Anushka.
Well, that video has led to more polarised debate about exactly what happened here. The Vice President, J.D. Vance, is not waiting for an investigation. He has posted it and argued that it showed the officer's life was endangered. Others say Renee Good looked totally unthreatening. Now, we have learned more about the agent at the heart of this. He was injured by a vehicle last year which had a fleeing suspect in it, and he was very experienced, 20 years in Border Patrol and ICE. Meanwhile, we've been sent emails from lawyers, immigration lawyers in the area this morning who say ICE agents are turning up at their workplaces. One woman who was 37 weeks pregnant has told colleagues that she was threatened with a chemical spray this morning. Others describe ICE agents in the corridors of immigration courts. And look, the city is bracing itself because they know that more officers are headed here now.
Murderer! Murderer!
A raw cry of resistance. Fury ever since an ICE agent shot and killed Renee Good in Minneapolis. This is the front line of a culture war, with federal immigration agents storming not just these protesters, but American cities. And this upside-down US flag, once a sign of military distress,
Renee Good!
now a symbol of anguish among Donald Trump's opponents.
Renee Good!
This is my city. We've gone through so much here because this is what this country is. And I can't sit home. I can't sit home and feel hopeless. I would come here and swear and yell. And
I haven't even been able to sleep last night, to be honest. Seeing ICE shooting an innocent woman in the head, in the face, it feels like we're in a war zone, really.
Like you're in a war zone?
Exactly.
Anyone to include the press trespassing on federal property is subject to arrest.
You can really feel the tension here. There were arrests earlier. There are dozens of Border Patrol and ICE agents just there. They've just ordered everyone to step back off the property or risk being arrested. But the protesters here are furious. They are angry about Renee Good's killing, and also because they've been told 2,000 more agents are coming to this city.
If you trespass on federal property, you will be arrested.
As dusk turned to night, the protests grew. In Minneapolis, then Portland, where Border Patrol officers shot and injured 2 people in a targeted vehicle stop. Thousands came out in Philadelphia too, blaming Trump's policies for Renee Good's death. In the White House, they point to something else.
A larger, sinister, left-wing movement that has spread across our country, where our brave men and women of federal law enforcement are under organized attack.
they are not treating the people like human beings.
This week has been traumatizing for Maimouna Mahmoud. Living in Minneapolis for 2 decades with an American husband and 3 American children, having the right immigration documents didn't stop her being pulled over by unmarked vehicles and taken by masked agents last month.
I feel like I get kidnapped. I'm telling you the truth. I feel like I'm kidnapped.
and I'm not going to see any more of the world. I asked them, why are they arresting me? He told me, you don't remember? Trump said that Somalian, you have to arrest Somalian. That's why they bring you here.
Minneapolis is not just the city of George Floyd and now Renee Good. It is also the target of Trump's relentless attacks on Somali Americans. Maimouna spent 2 weeks in a tiny prison cell and is now terrified that more ICE agents are coming in.
Everywhere is scared now.
Has it changed how you behave?
Yes, it scares. I don't go work. I don't go out.
You don't want to go out of this house?
No, I'm at home 24/7 because if I go out, anything may happen and I don't want to risk my life.
How much has it changed your life?
100%.
Her husband, Abdulaziz, is a naturalised citizen, just like Donald Trump's mother, he says, with children born in America.
We all immigrants, and we come here a reason, because America was a great country. But now I'm not sure if that's what we can say.
Maimouna is one of so many in Donald Trump's America. Her immigration lawyer, Stephen Thal, has never seen anything like this.
Yeah, the assault that we've seen of not only undocumented immigrants, but also even legal immigrants is unprecedented, even under the Trump 1.0 administration. And each day that, these policies change, we kind of think, well, can it really get any worse? Well, it has, unfortunately.
Once again, tragedy has inflamed a debate about federal power in America, a power that is starting to feel increasingly unrestrained.
Well, joining me now is John Sandberg, who was the acting director of ICE under President Obama from 2013 to 2014. John Sandberg, thank you very much for coming on the program. I'm sure you've seen that body cam video from the ICE agent who shot Renee Good. What did you make of it?
Well, I think for me, it just reinforces the need to refrain from making any judgment so we can do a full and thorough investigation into this. Unfortunately, some of the administration leaders, the vice president, the secretary have rushed out and said this is a clear-cut case of an assault on an officer who is, acting in self-defense. But look, the proper protocols are you refrain from making any judgment so you can evaluate the totality of the circumstance. And of course, as we look at each different video, I think we get a different perspective on what happened, and just reinforces for me how critical it is that we do that thorough investigation.
Because clearly what's happened here is that the video has been used by both sides to confirm what they were already thinking. And it's so extraordinary, is it not, that the vice president, literally minutes after this thing was released, should put it on social media and say, here's a piece of evidence for my case.
Yeah, that's really, look, it's unprecedented for first of all, for the vice president to be weighing in on something like this, of course, but for the idea of senior government officials to be quickly concluding these judgments at all, right? The typical protocol would be that whenever there's an officer involved shooting, that it is mandated that there be an investigation. And typically what you would see is the secretary, or if the vice president chose to weigh in, the vice president saying, we're going to refrain from making judgment until we can continue that investigation.
Yeah.
The problem is that everything in immigration space here in the United States has, of course, become so politicized. And now we're at the point where something that would never be considered but would be considered a law enforcement incident that deserves a full and thorough investigation has now become a political football where quickly we're trying to take, draw lines and take sides.
I mean, let's call it what it is. It is the weaponization of law enforcement, isn't it?
Well, I don't know if I'd be willing to go that far, but I certainly would say that we have politicized immigration enforcement in this country has always been very political. There's no other area of law enforcement in the United States that isn't as, infused with politics as is immigration enforcement. The truth is we're a country that's divided on what to do about immigration. I think there's bipartisan and widespread support to get bad actors off the streets. But of course, that's not what this is really about. This is about, do we want undocumented immigrants or not in this country? And that's something that we're conflicted on here. Of course, it's become supercharged under this administration. This is a top priority for the president of the Trump administration. They're doing this mass deportation effort. You have these very overt and public enforcement operations. And unfortunately, a byproduct of that are going to be incidents. I'm not saying that played a role particularly in this one. Every case is different, but just writ large, a lot of these incidents are a byproduct of the tension that's happening in the country right now.
Do you think ICE has become too powerful, too well funded? I mean, some people are describing it as almost a sort of private army at the behest of the president.
I have concerns with the way the administration is deploying ICE, and we could talk about that. Listen, ICE serves a valuable function in the United States. There are bad actors in this country, convicted criminals who have no immigration status, and the idea of having an agency like ICE where you really, and it's an incredibly difficult job, by the way, for these agents, and most of them signed up, the overwhelming majority, in my experience, signed up to make this country safer. So the idea, the idea of the agency itself makes tremendous sense. What concerns me is the manner in which the administration is deploying it. Now, of course, to be fair to ICE, it's not just ICE here. You have the U.S. Border Patrol. You have all these other 8 federal agencies that are now part of this mass immigration effort. But the tactics that are being adopted, including, listen, it's highly unusual in law enforcement to promote that you're coming into an area to do a bunch of sweeps. There's generally not very many good reasons from a law enforcement perspective why you'd want to do that. Politically, I understand why that can be appealing. Right. But when you do that, you create opportunities for protesters, many of whom are just simply exercising their First Amendment rights to express their frustration, but there's some bad actors there, and you also put these agents in harm's way, thus elevating the tension and the anxiety within the officers, and all of that, in many ways, is a toxic combination, which increases the likelihood that incidents like this are going to occur.
I mean, just briefly, it seems to be a complete breakdown in trust between different law enforcement agencies, local police and ICE, but also the local community and then ICE.
There's no doubt about that. And unfortunately, when the secretary comes out within hours of it without getting all the facts and says this was very clearly a good shooting, you only further that credibility gap. But you're absolutely right. ICE is, during my time at ICE and during the duration of DHS, the greatest relationship that ICE has is with their state and local partners. And together, you can do a lot that makes the country safer. But unfortunately, we've seen that break down.
Okay, going to leave it there. John Sandberg, thank you very much indeed for your time.